asked a software company to build my idea. 3 weeks later, I had already built it myself. For years, I had this idea, a leadership practice tool, a way for people to role-play conversations and actually build the interpersonal skills that we all know matter, but rarely practice. Now, I'm a roll up your sleeves and do it yourself kind of person, but I was hesitant on this one. I already had a lot on my plate, and I'm not a software developer. I took a coding class over 20 years ago, and that's about it. So on a Friday morning, I sat down with this software company, walked them through my whole idea. They ended up having a lot of questions. They didn't give me an estimate. They said they would give me a proposal. And I just remember thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford this. So instead of waiting for the quote, I figured I would experiment a bit with AI. So I opened up an AI chat and I typed in, if I want to do this, how would I do it? It didn't just give me the answer. It walked me through the entire setup. Within a couple hours, I had the development software running on my computer. And that's when things got fun. I described the first page of the tool and how it should work. It generated a bunch of code. I pasted it in, and bam, it shows up in my browser, just as I described. And it worked. Dude, I was hooked. That weekend, from the moment I woke up until I went to sleep, I was building. By Sunday night, I had already built the core functionality of the tool. And 3 weeks later, when the proposal finally came in, I didn't even need it. But I'm sure you're curious. Phase one was $50,000. To build the entire tool would have been over $200,000. And I had already built the entire thing. At first, I thought this was incredible. But consider this. What happens to all those people who have spent years becoming professional developers? In less than a month, with a $20 AI subscription, I essentially replaced what would have been a $200,000 development effort. Not that I could afford it, but still. And I'm not special. I like to think that I'm a pretty smart guy. And I came in with some conceptual understanding of coding logic, but there are thousands, if not millions of people who can do what I did with AI to build a complex software tool. And it doesn't stop with coding. So when people say AI is going to take my job, well, I don't think they're crazy. But I do question whether that's what we should be worried about. Because when you zoom out, we've seen this pattern before, and it's usually a story with a happy ending. Now, I'll be honest, history was never my favorite subject. I was a math guy, an engineer. But as I've gotten older, and my forehead has gotten bigger, I've learned the value of understanding a bit of our history. Take the car, for example. When the automobile replaced the horse and buggy, entire professions disappeared. Stable hands, blacksmiths, wagon builders. I've never met a wagon builder. Cities that were designed for horses had to completely reorganize. But the bigger story is that it expanded what was possible. New industries and jobs emerged. Auto factories, mechanics, road construction, gas stations. The car changed how far and how fast we could travel, how commerce worked and how life worked. How about the internet? It didn't just eliminate jobs, it dismantled entire systems. Physical media gave way to digital distribution. Newspapers and magazines went from our doorstep to our screens. And retail chains that had dominated for decades disappeared. I'm still sad about Blockbuster. You can't buy preview DVDs if nobody's buying them. But that wasn't the end of the story either. The internet also created new jobs and industries. Internet service providers, e-commerce companies, cybersecurity firms, app developers. The internet changed how we live. We can get information without going to the library. We can buy something without going to the store. and we can work for a company thousands of miles away. History tells us that the most disruptive technologies bring growth and expansion. Most of the time, yeah, we lose certain jobs or even industries, but we gain new jobs and industries and we expand human capability. But what if a technology expands our reach without strengthening us? Enter social media with its promise of connection. On the surface, it worked. We can find anyone, message anyone, see what everybody's doing in real time. Heck, I can go on Facebook, not Instagram, because according to my kids, I'm old. But I could probably find out what my old college roommate had for dinner last Friday. And yet, rates of loneliness, anxiety, and depression have increased. Somehow, in a world more connected than ever, we feel more divided. We spend more time measuring connection than actually experiencing it. Likes and visibility have replaced genuine relationships. And the danger? It wasn't a dramatic collapse. It was a quiet erosion. Social media showed us that technology can quietly weaken something fundamentally human. And now we have AI operating at a substantially larger scale. The risk isn't just our jobs, people. It's who we become. And I don't mean philosophically, I mean psychologically. Because at the core of human behavior, there is something foundational. Decades of research on motivation have consistently shown that all humans, all of us, share three basic psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Three basic psychological needs. These aren't preferences or wants. They're not nice to haves. These are needs. Just like our body needs nutrients to function, our mind needs these nutriments to stay psychologically healthy. When our needs are supported, we thrive. But when they're frustrated, we disengage. These needs form the psychological foundation of our humanity, why we do what we do. And how we use AI will either support them or slowly erode them. Autonomy is about being the source of your choices. It's the feeling that what you're doing is truly your own. AI can dramatically expand our autonomy by giving us new options, automating tasks, and giving us access to unlimited expertise. But there's a line. At what point does it start choosing for you? When you stop wrestling with decisions and accept outputs without understanding them, the algorithm becomes your default. You may still feel productive, but when you stop choosing, you slowly lose authorship of your life. Competence is about applying your skills and seeing progress. It's the confidence we get from using your abilities and watching them expand. AI can support our need for competence as the greatest tutor we've ever known. It can give us knowledge, walk us through complex processes, and help us try things we never thought we could do, like building a complex software tool. But at some point, it stops helping and starts doing it for you. When AI gives you the solution instead of helping you build it, you still get a result, but you lose the challenge. And at that point, there's no more learning or growth, just dependency. Relatedness is about connection. It's knowing that who you are matters to someone else and that they matter to you. AI can support that in powerful ways. It can help us reflect before a hard conversation, so we show up with more clarity and empathy. It can help us see new perspectives we may have missed. But AI can also make connection optional. Instead of helping us prepare for the hard conversation, it can be a way to avoid it. We start interacting through the tool instead of through each other, sending messages without fully engaging. And increasingly, it can simulate companionship altogether. I'm only slightly worried that my son is going to become best friends with Alexa. But when we use it to bypass real interactions, we've stopped connecting. If every day we choose a little less, and we grow a little less, and we connect a little less, we slowly begin to lose ourselves. And the thing that surprised me the most is how easy it is not to notice. For a while, I didn't even realize it was happening to me. When I first started building my tool, it was easy. I would describe something, AI would generate the code, I'd paste it in, and it would work. And I would marvel at my accomplishments. Even if there was an error, all I had to do was paste the error code into the chat, and it would spit out fixed code. Felt like I had superpowers. But as the software got more complex, something changed. Errors came up more often. The AI got stuck in loops. It contradicted itself. Sometimes it would even very confidently give me the complete wrong answer. I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't know how to get there. And I was essentially letting AI hold my hand and walk me down a path in the pitch black. Fingers crossed, it was taking me where I wanted to go. And at times, when I realized it was walking me in circles, oh man, that was very, very frustrating. And here's what I noticed. I wasn't as excited anymore. I wasn't learning. I wasn't doing anything I actually understood. I was basically just pasting code back and forth. I was just a middleman. But at some point, I started to shift my approach. Instead of asking for the answer, I asked it to teach me, to explain the syntax and the structure. I asked it to turn on some lights as we continued on the journey, so I wasn't being led through the dark. And as I shifted my approach, I started to feel more ownership, more capable, more creative. The difference wasn't the technology. The difference was my intention. I could use AI to outsource the work, or I could work with it, get a better result, and grow in the process. So look, AI isn't going away. In fact, it's only going to get more powerful and more capable. Every day, it's able to take us further down that pitch black path with fewer wrong turns and fewer stumbles. It's going to be easier and easier to let AI think for us, decide for us, and communicate for us. At some point, you got to ask, are we still in the relationship, or is it the algorithm? There's no autonomy without authorship. There's no competence without growth. And there's no connection without real relationships. The true danger of AI isn't that it takes our jobs. It's that it can quietly erode the psychological conditions that make us human. We all have a choice in how we use AI. That's autonomy, by the way. But we also have a responsibility. AI can walk us down that path, but it shouldn't replace us on the journey. It can write our code, draft our emails, and analyze our data, but we can't let it live our lives for us. We still have to decide where we're going. We still have to turn on the lights, and we still have to take the steps. So let's stop obsessing about whether AI is going to take our jobs. Every major technological shift has changed the work we do. This one will too. But this isn't another shift that we passively adapt to. This is one we must actively shape. The question isn't whether AI will change our jobs, it's whether we let it change who we are. When we use AI, we have to be intentional. The next time you use AI, ask yourself, is it strengthening your ability to choose? Is it helping you grow? Is it helping you connect with other people? Or is it quietly replacing your humanity? Let's not let our future be defined by what AI can do. Let's define our future by what we choose to become. Thank you.